Okay, today in 4.5, the first part of it, we're going to take linear equations from standard form to y equals mx plus b and graph them. So today in class, you were graphing y equals mx plus b, so we're adding one extra step, and that is putting them into y equals mx plus b form before we graph. Okay, so the key idea is the standard form of a linear equation. Standard form is ax plus by equals c, where a and b are not zero. It's just a different way to write a linear equation. So when you go to graph it, if they are in standard form, the first thing you have to do, step one, is to change the equation from standard form to slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form makes it easy to graph because you can easily identify the slope and the intercept. Step two then, once you have it in slope-intercept form, then you get to graph it. So we're really just adding step one to what we already did yesterday. So looking here at example 1, it says graph negative 2x plus 3y equals negative 6. So you can see it is not in y equals mx plus b form. So maybe above here, reminding yourself y equals mx plus b. So what do you need to do? Well, here's the equal sign. We need to get y by itself. So how do we do that? We did this earlier in the year, and I'm not sure how much you remember. We want to take this negative 2x, and we want to get it over to the other side. So how do you undo negative 2x? We add 2x. When we put 2x over here, I never put it underneath the negative 6 because, if you can recall, negative 6 and 2x are not like terms, and they have to be like terms in order to add them together. So over here, we're going to go back to the left-hand side. These would go to 0 because negative 2 plus 2x, which is why we did it. We bring down our 3y. We bring down our equal sign. And then look at this. We have a negative 6 and a plus 2x. We want it to be in mx plus b form. So I want the x term first. So carry the sign that's in front of it. The 2x is positive. And the negative 6 becomes minus 6. Okay, then you say, remember the song, what does y equal? Well, looking at this, y is not by itself yet. So we need to get the y by itself. How are the 3 and the y connected? By multiplication. So you're going to divide every single thing by 3. Why did we do that? Because 3 divided by 3 is 1, and that gives us y by itself. And then we leave this as fraction form because its slope is in fraction form. When we go to graph it, it's fine, 2/3 x. And then what is 6 divided by 3 is 2. Or you can think negative 6 divided by positive 3, negative 2. And so now we look at it and check to make sure it's in mx plus b form. And it is. So then to go to step 2, we did step 1. Step 2, use the slope and y-intercept to graph the equation. This is review. Off to the side, put m equals b equals. Identify the slope. 2/3 because it's in front of the x term, the coefficient of that, and b is negative 2. I'm going to put a little star next to b. Do the same, please. That means I want to graph that first. That is the y-intercept. So I find my y-axis, and I find negative 2 because that's what I'm going to graph. First, I can plot that point. I can't plot slope unless I have a point to go from. So slope is 2/3 rise up. So remember, maybe making a little note. This is the rise over the run. Write that down, please. So from the y-intercept of negative 2, we rise up 1, 2, and run out 1, 2, 3. It gives us one more point. We can do that the same because slope is consistent in a linear equation. Rise up, 1, 2, run out, 1, 2, 3. And then we grab a ruler, some kind of straight edge, and draw a straight line with arrows on the ends going across the coordinate plane. Okay, going on down to on your own, number 1 here. You go ahead and why don't you go ahead and just skip that right now, come back to it, or you can try it right now. And we're going to go on to the other page and do number 3. So going down to 2, you'll go back and do 1 and 2, and we're going to go and do number 3 right here. Okay, so number 3, negative 2/3 x plus y equals 0. So the first step 1 was to get it in y equals mx plus b form. So look at this. Y is not by itself right now, so we need to get y by itself. How do we do that? We need to get rid of this negative 2/3 x. So how do you undo? You add 2/3 x. So then over here I go plus 2/3 x. This goes away, draw my line. I bring down my y equals 0 plus 2/3 x. Remember, if I wanted in y equals mx plus b form, I want my x term first. So I put the 2/3 x in front and then plus 0. Do I need to write the plus 0? No. So I could have it there or not. I really would prefer it not to be there. But we'll talk about what happens there. So we have this right now. Y equals 2/3 x. That's step 1. It is in y equals mx plus b form. Step 2 then was to identify the slope and the y-intercept so that you could graph. So we look at the slope. The slope is the coefficient in front of the x term, 2/3. B, what number is back here? Plus 1, plus 0, plus 2. What's back here? If there's nothing there, it'd be plus 0. So B is 0. So you think about that, and we put a star next to B because that's the one we're going to graph first. We're going to plot B equals 0. That's the y-intercept of 0, so you know it goes to the origin. And then 2/3 x, that's your slope, so 2/3. So remember, that's right here, rise over run. So from the y-intercept, rise up 1, 2, run out 3, 1, 2, 3. Rise up 1, 2, run out 1, 2, 3. Draw your straight edge, straight line, going through with arrows on the ends. Okay, so the next one, you have to do 1, 2, and 4 on your own tonight. Great, have a good night.